Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Options Mentor. Once again, we hit an all-time high earlier this week, back on Wednesday. The market, in this very thin market, has decided to just keep going up and up, anticipating a rate cut in September. Now, that will come into focus once again this week whenever we have the minutes from the last Fed meeting. Well, that will come out Wednesday afternoon at 2 Eastern. And definitely they'll be looking that over to see where the individual board members are, what the votes are like, what the sentiment's like, and see what they can discern from the tea leaves of those minutes. And then followed up on Thursday with a PMI number. So that is more of an inflation number, of course. So both of those things will be important this week. I think the market will have all eyes on that, at least till Wednesday afternoon, and see what goes on there. And then we have just more thin trading on until we get into September when volume should return. So that's what we're looking at this coming week. So what can we do about that as traders? Let me share my screen here. Now, whenever the day ended over on Friday, we did have the VIX had been in the 14s, and the VIX got back up into the 15s. And of course, the SPX ended at 64.49. I'm going to make this a little bigger here for you, but we can see we're just below about, what is that, 30 points below those all-time highs. Don't know if we'll hit them again or not. Maybe so if they think there's going to be a rate cut this week. We'll have to see how it goes. Remember, in a thin market, you can push things very high and very low because there's just not enough volume. You can run out of sellers, run out of buyers, whatever it may take as we head into the end of summer when many people aren't trading. So let's go over here and look at a trade that we might consider in the SPX. Somebody asked me, do you do other underlines like RUT or whatever? I've looked at all those and I found them to be too thin, or they don't really give you any of the other indices don't really give you any kind of a difference between that and the SPX anyway. So you're not hedging or anything. Many times, particularly the Russell, I found to be not as liquid. So that's why I just strictly use the SPX. Although certainly you can use any of the S&P products. You could use SPY for the trades I do, or whatever else you want to use. Many people ask me about some of the other cash settled S&P products. Perfectly fine. If you want to use those, I'm just using the SPX. So any S&P product, even the ES future, you could use for these trades. Now, what you have here on your screen is a double diagonal that I set up for a week from this Friday. We don't want to do things in the same week. That invites trouble, particularly when you have big news on Wednesday. You don't have much time for things to recover or to fix the trade if it goes against you on a Wednesday or even a Thursday with that PMI. But if we go out to the next week, we can weather any storm that may come up, and you may very well be out of this trade this week anyway. You can put this trade on tomorrow, most likely, if the market's right. And of course, as always, if you understand the trade's right for you. You should always paper trade until you understand that. But you can put it on Monday, maybe even have it off on Friday if you don't have to go too far out of bounds. And I believe it's like 90 points is the expected move by Friday afternoon. And you're well within that with this trade here. That is set up for, I sold Friday the 29th, bought September 2nd. You notice that's 4 days wide. Why is that? Did I change my plan? No. Labor Day is Monday. So I can't possibly buy September 1st. So you have to do the 2nd. That's the only time I do 4 days wide with diagonals instead of 3. So if you did this, it would be about around $11.15 here on a Sunday. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. Theta 83, Vega 158, and that delta is only 0.72, so you're very flat delta. Now, if I do it for the following week, I don't have a problem with that at all. You could do that. Now, you can get 3 days wide with the following week, selling the 5th, buying the 8th. Now you have 33 theta, 103 Vega, less theta, even less delta, about half the delta, although we're talking about less than $1 a delta here between 0.72 and 0.35. So it's not a big deal anyway. And then it would only cost you $9 and 70 cents. So it's cheaper, decays slower, and you really have less volatility risk. Perfectly fine to do if you wanted to trade, maybe more peaceful, maybe you're working a lot and you don't have time to check the market a lot. A lot of times doing these trades 2 weeks out is a little better. You'll just have a lot more peace in your trade, a lot more time to fix it if you need to, and you can still get out of them. I'd say most of these in 7 days or so, depending on what the market's been like. But I would probably lean towards this one if you can. But like I said, if any of those other circumstances are yours, you don't want to watch it as much, or maybe you just don't care. You just want peace. All right. Well, then do the further out one. So this one here, if you look at it, when I do my final measurement, you guys probably know by now that I'll just pick the longs out somewhere, sell the shorts above the call long and below the put long. Remember, that's the difference between my diagonals, double diagonals, and many other diagonals you see. You'll see people do double diagonals where the short is closer to the money. That's going to be right in your face. If the market goes down, now you have the short before you're long. That can be, of course, more expensive and more difficult to adjust or repair if you needed to. I think it's particularly troublesome. Let's say you're doing a fly diagonal combo like I came up with several months ago and I showed you guys, or even last year. So with those, I have that long in there. If you have a fly up here and then a long put diagonal down here, if it goes up, you're good. You have that fly, call fly up here. If it goes down, you're going to be fine also because your long's in front of your short. But I've seen people do these with the short and then the long. That's not going to do too well for you. If it comes down, it's going to need repair quickly. So that's why I do it the way I do it. But either a week from this coming Friday or 2 weeks from this coming Friday is fine for this trade. I like being long Vega here with the VIX around 15. I think, that's just the way to go. I'm not so interested in being short Vega, like just doing single flies or double flies. Why would I want to be short Vega when the volatility is really low? That's, to me, inviting trouble. So I'd rather be long Vega. Not only that, it also gives you so much room if the market does move. So that's what I have for you guys this week. Of course, I'll be back next week and I'll have another installment of the Options Mentor for you. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notify button here on YouTube, and check out all the links to join me every day over at arimer.com. I appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.